All right, division playoffs,
The best
baby.
divisional round that we ever done seen.
And I wasn't really watching it because I had family events.
You idiot.
I watched
You
it.
literally have one job.
Like, I was keeping up with it, and then I watched most of the highlights afterwards, but it was sad because it's still different when you don't watch it in person.
Yeah.
I think next time I'm just not going to go to family things. I'm going to keep my family out of my... Because, like, I would have been happier if I would have watched the games, you know? Because it was probably the best divisional round.
Yeah.
In either a long time or ever.
Yeah, I think that's for a couple of reasons. Mostly because of the upsets.
Yeah.
Like, we had 3 out of the 4 games the underdog ended up winning.
Yeah.
And also, they were all close at the end.
Yeah.
So, like, not every game was close throughout. And actually, now that I think about it, they kind of got better over the course of the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But still, all ended like on the last play of the game. So
yeah, for me, it was the parody from the wild card weekend, which was probably one of the worst wild card weekends in a while.
I agree.
Just blowouts, and then, like you said, all the games ended on the last play.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about each one. The first one, which one was that?
Cincinnati and Tennessee.
That one, it was funny because it was really good, and then people were like, "Wow, that might have been one of the best games this playoffs because like how bad it was,
right,
or how bad the playoffs have been." Uh-huh. But that was probably, looking back, the worst divisional. You know, like it just got better from there.
Yeah, like I said, I think they got better as each game went on. So looking back on it, it was like, wow, that was a pretty good game, you know. But then it's kind of everything else that was like, no, that was the worst one probably for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one do you think was the best game?
I think the last one, the Chiefs and the Bills, was the best.
Yeah, I think that's consensus.
It was pretty easy.
Poor Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And overtime rules really screwed them over. Yeah. But what are you going to do?
We're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here. So I think did you watch the Cincinnati versus Tennessee?
A little bit, but once I saw Derrick Henry wasn't himself, I was like, oh, this isn't going to end well for him.
Yeah, and I think...
I mean, he started hot, and then it just kind of showed his humanity.
He didn't play horrible necessarily. Yeah. I just...
he wasn't Derrick Henry. He wasn't...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that was honestly his injury or just like not playing.
Yeah.
So anyway, but past that, I think obviously I think if you flip I feel like the difference was just the quarterbacks honestly in this game.
Yeah.
Because Ryan Tannehill had 3 turnovers. Joe Burrow did have 1, but at the end of the game, he made the plays and Ryan Tannehill didn't. Yeah. You know? He had that it's like a 20 or 15 yard out to Jamar Chase, which pretty much won them the game.
Yeah. I mean, like they say, Jamar Chase is down there somewhere. Just throw it up.
Yeah.
Also, probably the best quote of the divisional weekend. Evan McPherson said, well, guess we're going to the AFC Championship game.
First of all,
I hit a game winner. I liked it.
I hate it.
It would have been better if he would have missed it, though.
True.
It would have come out. No one would have said it.
No, you think?
No, I don't think anybody would have said it.
Yeah, probably not.
Just because, that would have been so embarrassing.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's fine, like... Which, like, dude, you play for the Bengals and you're a rookie kicker, like...
Yeah, I think that makes it even better. Like, the guy that should miss it 10 out of 10 times...
The guy who missed...
is, like, the most confident person.
A couple of game-winning field goals this year.
Yeah, was the most confident person in the world.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I guess he drilled it, so good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say I think the Joe Burrow hype is kind of... I don't know if it's going too far, but... I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Like, I saw some people online calling him, like, top 5, etc.
Yeah, no.
But I do think that he's definitely the hype is real. But
yeah, I agree.
Not to that extent.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's funny because his weapons are great, even though his O-line is awful, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny which one... Is it really Joe Burrow? Is it really his weapons, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's a little bit of both, but which one really takes the cake?
Yeah. And I think that, let me think. Because Cincinnati took the early lead and they were kind of winning throughout until Tennessee brought it back and tied it up. But then obviously the Tannehill interception on what could have been the game-winning drive for Tennessee ended up leading to the game-winning drive for Cincy.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much all there is to say about that one,
Yeah, let's move on to my personal, I think, the worst game of the weekend, just because of how, like, piss poor execution was on both sides, on, like, special teams and everything. The 49ers and Packers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers looked like he didn't care. I mean, like, he did care, but he just... The game was so weird because, like, it's not like Aaron Rodgers had, like, 5 turnovers, right? He just wasn't making the plays that he usually does. And then, like I said, the special teams really won that game, literally and figuratively.
Yeah. I don't think there's any other way around. The special team scored all the points for the 49ers.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. Like, obviously there's more to special teams, but even, like, the special teams, they blocked the punt, and the ball was just laying on the ground for, like, 5 seconds because no one knew where it was. Like, I mean, it just doesn't, like...
I think that a lot of that has to do with the snow that they were playing in.
Yeah.
Especially towards the end. But, I mean, I thought it was pretty entertaining, mostly because, like I said, it was an upset. And it was like, I don't think it's a stretch to say this is the biggest upset that we saw.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
well, is it an upset? I mean, Aaron Rodgers, 0-4 against 49ers.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the one seed, the reigning MVP at home.
That was more shocking than the Bengals beating the Titans, the number 1 seed Titans first.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So, honestly, I didn't mind it because, like, the first 3 quarters were not interesting, but then basically the 49ers just won the game within, like, the last 5 minutes of the game. It was honestly crazy. Yeah. Because, like, they had no business winning the game, and then they did,
Yeah.
But at the same time, the only person you can blame is the Packers,
Yeah, for sure.
Like, they allow a block punt, which is bad enough. They go 3 and out on what could have been the game-winning drive for them.
Yeah.
And they don't even, like, waste any of the clock. So then San Francisco can get the ball back and basically not even have to do anything other than what they probably wanted to do, like, they're out of their game script,
Yeah.
Like, they called a bunch of run plays. They picked up a first down on, like, 3rd and 6 or 7 with Debo, who was playing on, like, one leg.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously some people are going to say this is kind of like the story of Aaron Rodgers' career, which is...
He did what he needed to do, and the Packers...
They kind of did let him down, which I do think is true, but at the same time, like...
Score more points.
Well, I was going to say, Jimmy G... I don't think Jimmy G is good, but he did lead the 49ers down to at least get 3 on their last possession, which Aaron Rodgers didn't. And I know that Aaron Rodgers has a limited amount of weapons, but he still had a pretty good offensive line in front of him.
Yeah.
And he has maybe the best receiver in the league. So, like,
I was going to say, I think the whole Aaron Rodgers discussion of he doesn't have enough weapons is kind of blown out of water for the past couple of years because, like you said, he does have the number 1 wide receiver in the league. He's Aaron Jones. A.J. Dillon's a weapon. And, like, the wide receivers he does have, like, they're not amazing, but, like, Allen Lazard is good. Yeah. And then MVS and all of them are, like, they're solid wide receivers. They're not what Aaron Rodgers probably wants, but, like, not every quarterback gets what he wants.
Yeah, and I don't think that, like, it's not like those guys wouldn't be starting for a lot of teams,
Yeah.
Like, if you took you wouldn't trade this receiving core for, like, the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Or, like most teams.
Yeah, that's what, I
So,
agree.
at the end of the day, the Packers are the Packers still. And personally, as somebody who doesn't really like the Packers, like, I'm kind of just tired of them doing, mostly because this is what they've been doing the last couple of years. So I thought it was entertaining to watch.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was entertaining, but I was saying out of the 4 games, it was the least because special teams won it instead of, like, having Aaron, whatever. Yeah. We can move on to our next game, the Bucs and Rams. A very exciting game that started piss poor, just awful blowout.
For one team,
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, like, the game watching it wasn't that fun to watch because it was kind of one-sided. And then second half was pretty fun to watch Tom Brady try to make another great comeback. But,
for me, it was perfect because he didn't. Yeah. It was like, I think it's always fun to watch, like, the champion. It's fun to watch teams, like, beat Alabama,
Yeah.
So it's fun to watch teams, like, dethrone Tom Brady a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Big shout out to Matt Stafford, who finally had kind of a legacy game out there, more or less.
Yeah, I mean, 100%.
So
Finally making a playoff run.
I mean, he was one of the only players on their team who didn't turn the ball over.
Yeah,
And
Cam
then at the
Akers
end
was
of the
trying to
game-
give it away.
At the end of the game, he won it for them big time. So
Yeah, it was
I thought
funny.
that was awesome.
It was funny to watch because Tom Brady gets most of the calls, but going down the stretch, he wasn't getting the calls he usually gets. Like Mike Evans, the targeting against Jalen Ramsey. Usually,
Well, Eric Weddle. you mean?
yeah, Eric Weddle. Usually, for some reason, good or bad, it falls in the way of Tom Brady. Just I feel like over his legacy
Yeah.
that has happened. But that time, like it was a close call and it didn't go his way, right? And then,
Well, I actually think they got it right, but
no, I do too. That's what I'm saying. But I feel like usually they get it wrong.
Yeah, okay,
in
yeah.
Tom Brady's way,
yeah, I was actually surprised that the officiating wasn't.
garbage.
Yeah, because last weekend it was.
Yeah,
So it was kind of surprising.
yeah. And then he actually got a personal. What was it? It wasn't taunting, but he was talking to the refs.
Yeah, well, he was just screaming. Yeah, at the
Yeah, they finally called one on him, and then I mean there are a couple calls like that where he usually gets those to bail him out, and that time it just didn't happen for him.
yeah.
So that was interesting to see.
Von Miller had a pretty good game.
Yeah,
Game of best game as a Ram, I would definitely say.
Yeah.
and he's undefeated against Tom Brady now in the
wow,
playoffs.
I didn't know that. That's impressive.
Actually, I don't know for sure if that's true,
It
but
probably- it's like
the
2-0.
last time he was in the playoffs was like when they won the Super Bowl. So
I do remember that game. He
So,
was raw dogging Tom Brady.
yeah, so that was just a little thing that kind of made me happy. It's kind of funny, they're on different teams and everything now, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Not much to say about this. I don't think it was
I
just a
thought it was
comeback.
very
It was good.
very good game.
Yeah, the only thing that was a shame was how depleted the Buccaneers' weapons were. Missing Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
I think the only reason I bring that up is, I mean, all injuries suck in the NFL, and seeing both teams at full potential is best case. And I feel like the Buccaneers were more depleted than usual.
I agree, but I'm still not feeling bad for them though. They still had Mike Evans and Gronk and OJ
No,
Howard.
yeah,
and all
I
that.
totally agree. I think the biggest injury is probably Tristan Wirfs.
Oh,
because their backup was getting
well,
just
then their
raw
backup got
dogs.
hurt too.
Yeah, and then he was getting even more raw dog. Like that's why Von Miller had such a good game. I remember because I remember he was just like bull rushing him, like laughing in his face, like you're a child, I'm a man.
Well, yeah, he did come from both sides throughout but yeah,
Yeah.
Obviously, whoever was going against the third string right tackle was not
Was having a good
any
game.
problems.
Yeah, even Leonard Floyd got a sack in there.
Yeah, so
Happy for the Rams. Not
Yeah.
really. I don't care about any of these teams anymore. Happy for good football, and that was a good football team out there.
yeah,
Better team won.
Cooper Kupp for MVP.
Oh hell yes, 100%. Matt Stafford did drop it in the box and made a perfect throw to Cooper Kupp, and then Cooper Kupp actually
And it was
got
a
rained
questionable
down.
decision to like
Launch
cover
it.
Cooper Kupp with a safety at the last play of the game, but
Yeah.
Also, should we? Well, no, I'll save this for when we talk about trades.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the last game of the
Chiefs Bills.
Chiefs Bill? Probably.
How much of this did you see?
I probably saw, if on a scale to 1 to 100, probably saw like 23%.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, watching this game was like the Bucks game had just ended, right? And then this game comes on, and you're like, man, can it possibly be as good as the past 3 games?
Yeah.
And it was actually better. Mm-hmm. Like, it was close throughout the entire game. Back and forth, many lead changes.
Yeah.
Looked like a couple of times that Kansas City was going to pull away. But then the Bills made a couple of big-time stops, got themselves back in the game, and actually took the lead to a point where they probably should have won the game. But then, obviously, 13 seconds was plenty of time for Patrick Mahomes to go a full drive and get 3 points, even though it's not enough time for the Dallas Cowboys to run one play.
Yeah.
And so the Chiefs won.
My 2 favorite things that came from this game was I saw ESPN win percentage. Did you see
yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Where it was like Chiefs by 80%, and then I think it was Bills. No, it was Chiefs 80%, Bills 80%, and then Chiefs 80%. Like after
Right.
like 3 plays, it was insane. And then afterwards, Travis Kelce was giving an interview, and he was like,
I didn't run my route.
yeah, and Patrick Mahomes, like, there's footage of him saying, like, do it, Kelce, do it.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, I got this. And then they got the first down that set up the game-tying field goal.
Right.
To send it to overtime. So that was fun to watch. And then Tyreek Hill is just a menace to society out there, just outrunning everybody.
Throwing up the peace sign when there's 2 players in front of you.
Yeah, I did find it funny that
supreme disrespect.
Yeah, did you see the meme about NFL's like, we're gonna keep taunting, we're gonna take taunting seriously, and then
if they would have
Tyreek
called taunting right there, I think that the NFL might have exploded.
I agree. For sure. But overall, it was a really good game. I think
huge shout out to Josh Allen though.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Played the game of his life.
I mean, if you look at that game, there's 2 best quarterbacks in the league, and those 2 were on the field that night.
Ooh, wow. Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, they were just playing out of their minds.
Yeah. They really were. The 4th down conversions and stuff were just insane.
Yeah.
So, big shout out to him. It sucks for him because obviously a lot of people thought that they were finally going to do it and beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Because, it was like the whole story was like, they remember last week they destroyed the Patriots to get here. They're ready. And they looked like they were,
I mean, they probably...
But it was just a couple of questionable decisions at the very, very end that I think lost them the game. Like, not squibbing it, just kicking it straight out of the end zone so that no time comes off the clock with 13 seconds.
Yeah.
Not what I would have done. You would at least hope that you would make them return it.
Yeah.
So that some time could come off. Not covering Travis Kelce and allowing him to just run straight up the seam and get those yards at the end of the regulation.
Yeah.
Also questionable. And then single covering him again in the red zone with a linebacker, even though it is Matt Milano, who's a good coverage linebacker, obviously didn't work. So on one hand, I want to say that the Bills should have won that game, but at the same time, you can't just forgive the questionable decisions,
Yeah, well, and the coin toss kind of decided it towards the...
Oh, yeah, NFL overtime rules got to change.
We're definitely going to do...
You at least got to give the other team a chance.
We're going to do another segment on that in a future podcast, but that one's going to be a good one because there are so many better ways to do it than making a coin toss decide the game.
Honestly, I wonder how many times they would have went back and forth.
I think I personally don't hate it as much as most people because I think like defense is part of the team culture and winning championships.
I agree.
But even I, who doesn't hate it as much, still thinks it's ridiculous that the Bills offense doesn't get a chance.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean that's just how they were built, to go score points, and they weren't allowed to do that.
Their defense was also on the field for like an hour in the last 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
So when they went out, Did you have any doubt that the Chiefs were going to score after they got the toss?
No.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, just how
did they even get to 3rd down?
I think
I don't think that they did.
Whoever won the toss, I had no doubt they were. Because
I agree.
Both offenses were just rolling.
Well, yeah, and both defenses had just been on the field for like ever.
Yeah, it is funny to think about looking back that they were like Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill, and they kind of like show who really is the best wide receiver in the league, right? And it's not like Devontae or Hopkins like people think. It's like Gabriel Davis. Like, he was just out there killing it.
Yeah, that route that he had on the long touchdown was disgusting.
Yeah.